Hi there and welcome to Lorena's Labyrinth. My name's Anna Pirelli. The comments that you see here are my views, beliefs, opinions, and sometimes they are not even my fully formed views, beliefs, and opinions. However, they are my understandings. Please do retain an open mind and reflect on any of the content and your comfort levels. If your views differ, please feel free to leave a comment. Also remember, it is possible to disagree in respectful ways. My way is not necessarily your way and vice versa. You might also find that some of the content on this playlist in regard to spiritual or universal laws, it resonates with you, meaning it feels right to you, while other laws may not feel right or they may not feel comfortable. If this is the case, the information is either not right for you or it is not right for you right now, and it might never be right for you at any given time. It really doesn't matter. As an earthy and practical person, I can put my hand up with all honesty and say that I have at different times had the same feelings about some of the content in here. And with some of them, I still have a level of skepticism within my viewpoints, but I choose to retain an open mind about the things that I don't fully understand for a few reasons. Firstly, because I believe it would be supreme arrogance to think that we all know all of the answers while we have a body. And because what is right for one of us is not necessarily right or suitable for all of us, and I choose to respect the differences. Please do leave your opinions, beliefs. Feel free to argue the points in a respectful way with any of the content on the slides and even my interpretations. And if you feel that you can add clarity around some of the content, we would all love to see it. Thank you. For now, though, let's explore the laws.
All creation is governed by law. The principles that operate in the outer universe, discoverable by scientists, are called natural laws. But there are subtler laws that rule the hidden spiritual planes and the inner realm of consciousness. Contained within these laws, or conditions, is the true nature of matter. Knowledge of these laws has an effect upon the mental urges. Mind is the builder. Stay in full mindfulness of the application of universal law as related to self and to others, and know that in love all life is given, in love all things move. In giving one attains, in giving one acquires. In giving, love becomes the fulfillment of desire, guided and directed in the ways that bring the more perfect knowledge of self as related to the universal, all-powerful, all-guiding, all divine influence in life. Love is life. When we go back, merge with the God source, in some infinitesimal but profound way, we expand the mind of God. Our higher self always points the best and most perfect way, and it is ours to listen and choose or reject what we hear. It does not blame, but patiently tries again to show the perfect way, the loving way. All of creation pushes forth. We are ever becoming. Identity ever remains. Universal Law number 78. The Law of Rebound. The Law of Rebound concerns the right of one to come out of a negative situation stronger and bolder and with more soul growth than previously experienced. This has been used as an example in stories since the beginning of mankind. Traumatic situations create the need for rebound, and the soul often seeks these negative occurrences to give self and observers a leap in faith.
So let's talk about this one, and thankfully it's another short paragraph, and in many ways it does make sense. You know, this whole idea, the business of people having the right to come out of a negative situation bolder and wiser, I would like to call that a given. I've always been a believer that many of the negative situations that we find ourselves in do act as a form of fertiliser for the soul. Certainly once we've taken on board the lessons of the experience, we do seem to go, at least in my experience, we go through a period of some really rapid growth, spiritually, emotionally and physically, because the fertiliser, we seem to sit in that manure pile of life, if we'd like to call it that. We seem to sit in that manure for a while, and then we reach a certain point where it becomes a decision of no more, I've had enough, and I'm speaking, of course, from my own experiences, but we make that decision. And once we've made that decision, it's kind of like we become quite a powerful force for change, and the change does happen very quickly because we've made that decision to pick up the momentum, I guess. I'm not too proud to put my hand up to say that actually sometimes I've fallen into the same manure pile more than once. And I'm not too proud to say that it hasn't been without its challenges, and probably compounded my challenges as well. But, there's any number of reasons why we revert back to similar type situations. And sometimes I would say it's a misguided belief that we need to do X or Y because we have a responsibility to another person. So this is where this law makes sense to me as well. What I would feel a little bit remiss for if I didn't actually address this was the use of the word trauma in the original paragraph, because from my perspective, I will take into account that it was written many years ago and that perhaps there was a different definition for what trauma means, or a different understanding of trauma. And I think that trauma is more than just having a simple bad experience. It's not just that we jumped into the manure pile of life and we got stuck there for a little while. Trauma actually embeds itself into a physiological basis. And if you've looked at the content that I've put up on the physiology, oh goodness me, can't speak. Anatomy of distress, actually, I think I've called it. I refer to what actually happens to the body when the trauma becomes embedded. There become neurological changes for conditions such as PTSD. I mean, even anxiety and depression, if it's chronic, there becomes changes to the way the brain functions. And that doesn't mean to say, I just want to put this disclaimer in here, it doesn't mean that their brain damaged, as in this whole negative connotation. It means that the way the brain processes stimuli changes. And the other thing that I need to put in too is that, of course, we can actually rebuild neural pathways and that kind of thing, but that's just a complete diversion. But I do feel that we need to address that for anybody that might have a trauma type condition that's reading or listening to this video. And if there is somebody listening to it, I would like to just remind them, there is hope for recovery. The evidence does support, clinical evidence does support the recovery is possible, although it takes effort. So I guess if we were to take that into consideration, then we can actually see that the wording of this paragraph might not be delivered very well, but there is an element of truth to what it's saying. Because I would imagine if somebody has got some really deep embedded trauma in their physiology and they've been able to overcome it by rewiring their brain and that kind of thing, I would imagine that actually would instill a sense of faith in themselves at least, and the process of life, as well as a real appreciation and respect for who and what they are and their inner strength to be able to overcome the challenges that they've faced. So I guess where I'm going with this is, in essence, I actually do agree with this paragraph and what it says. I'm interested to know, though, hear my pause, sorry, that's the wheels of my own brain processing and turning. I'm interested to know what you think, though. I've long been a believer, and I suppose this is what I would say to people that are in the abyss, whether it's anxiety, trauma, depression, or whatever, if they're in some kind of emotional abyss and feeling down, and thinking, life can't get any worse. I would actually like to remind them that life actually is cyclical, and based on my experiences as well, the beauty of life is that if you can sink that far down, think of it like this: if a person has the capacity to sink that far down, and if life is a circle, that means this life has got a very wide circle. And because of the laws of duality and polarity, if you can sink that far down, equally you can go that far high. So to translate this into really simple lingo, if the average Joe's life just includes, I feel a bit sad, right? But your life is, oh my God, I've crashed and burned and I don't think I can get any lower than this, right? The average Joe who, oh, I think I feel a bit sad, their cycle, when that spins, they're going to go as high as being, I think I'm a bit happy today. Whereas for yourself, the reality is, this is if you go into the abyss, you can go up to the highest of highs and the bliss. But the problem with that, I'll just put out there's a problem with having these really big spirals as well, is because if we think about this bipolar disorder, they are the really big spins from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs. And I guess if I was going to be giving you some advice here in regard to spiritual as well as earthly and practical life, it probably becomes more important for you personally to be able to sustain a balance. But of course, if these are just my thoughts, I want to make this very clear here. These are my thoughts and kind of semi-conclusions that I've made over the life path. If we are in perfect balance, right, then that makes life an even keel and it's a flat line. And the ups and downs, you know what I mean? They are what makes life joyous and pleasurable. That's the capacity to be able to feel. I feel, this is what I came to, I made the decision, I actually put it out to the universe and I said, look, can we forego those really deep lows and the really big highs? Can we just, a little high and a little low there works for me? Because if everything is on that perfect balance and even all the time, it to me feels a little bit like a flat line. So I understand why some people go like, oh, balance is boring or whatever. Balance is good, balance is healthy, but too much of anything is, not necessarily a wonderful thing. Just my personal thoughts anyway. Let us know what you think instead of me rambling on. I do agree with this, Law. What about you? Let me know. Take care. See you on the next one. Bye-bye for now.